So the new streaming platform Quibi shut down after only 6 months in operation today. And in this video, I'm going to get into some of the things in its brief history that I think may have caused this quick downfall, what it means for the people who were involved, because there were some pretty high-profile people involved with this company, and the aftermath or potential aftermath of this news and what it means for this company and the tech streaming world in general going forward. So before we get into that, if you are not subscribed to this channel, either on Rumble or on YouTube, make sure to do that and turn on post notifications by ringing the bell on YouTube for weekly videos throughout the week covering social, political, and cultural topics, where we get to talk about all sorts of things throughout the week. So make sure to subscribe if you are not already. So with that said, let's get into this entire story because it's very interesting and it's a very 2020 story if you know what I'm talking about. But first of all, the weird part about this is that it seems that the owner or founder, the operator really, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was the person who was a part of DreamWorks, because I think DreamWorks was Spielberg, someone else, and Katzenberg. It was like SKG or Spielberg, Katzenberg, and someone else. But if you notice the beginning screen of any of their movies, it has a little something SKG or something at the bottom. Anyways, that's not the one I'm talking about. But he's the one who started this, as well as Meg Whitman, who I'll talk about in a little bit. But anyways, it appears that before this news was announced that Quibi was going to shut down, they had been shopping their catalog to sell the shows that have been a part of Quibi since the 6-month ago launch, which was over 100 something shows that they were on that apparently. And they were trying to shop them to apparently Facebook and to NBC, but apparently both declined to buy the catalog of shows that Quibi was providing for their customers. And that was a report by the Daily Mail and whoever their source was. But as far as the people involved, Meg Whitman, who, like I just mentioned, so she was the CEO of and involved executive-wise in a ton of huge companies, and a lot of them based in California, which were eBay, P&G, Procter & Gamble, Disney, DreamWorks, Hasbro. She was an executive in all those, and when she was running for governor of California back in 2010, her big thing was that she took eBay from a small company to a multi-billion-dollar company, and it appears that her executive roles in a lot of different companies is what has contributed to her multiple billions of dollars up until this point. What I saw was about $5 billion net worth. It appears when she was running for governor, her net worth was about 1 point something billion dollars. So she ran for governor as a Republican, but her support as of late was for Hillary Clinton in 2016 and now Joe Biden in 2020. And when she ran for governor, she, I think, ran the most expensive governorship campaign, I think, in the state of California, if not of any governor run ever, which she got the Republican nominee, but she ended up losing to Jerry Brown, who ended up doing 2 terms up until 2018. And she spent over $100 million of her personal money in that to only eventually lose the final race. I can go in a whole probably video about that entire race because I was in California at the time. I remember the ads and how contentious it was between her and Neil Kashkari, who was the guy running against her. Anyways, we'll continue on. But other scrutiny, so some of the scrutiny that came out of Quibi's brief history was some of the things that were on there. One being a show that was starring Chrissy Teigen, which was actually what a lot of the ads that were being plastered everywhere online in particular was focusing around her show, Chrissy's Court, I think it was called, which was kind of like a satirical, playful take on courtroom, like daytime TV, but on Quibi. And they were short little 10-minute episodes, as all the episodes are on Quibi. And that was part of what gave this platform streaming service early criticism that kind of gave it a bad look, on top of other things I'll talk about later. But as far as the scrutiny around the content, that was a majority of it. And Chrissy Teigen obviously is not the most, I mean, she was well liked, but she's been pretty controversial or pretty polarizing over the years, and so this didn't really help their image that much. She's a big name, has a big following, but it didn't seem to have helped the overall cause of the company. Now, as far as something that I think was a positive for Quibi content-wise, they rebooted Reno 911, which was a huge comedy, groundbreaking from what I understand on television, comedy that they decided to reboot into the short form episodes that Quibi is known for and what their whole platform format is. And so I thought that would have been a really good strength, and you think that would bring an already established intellectual property or show and bring that core audience that was beloved that show and kind of bring them to the platform to give it that. But apparently that's not really helping the cause either. So, and also I think what's interesting is the fact that Facebook and NBC, which are, I think, kind of represent the big tech, big media companies, don't want what Quibi has. And it could be because they maybe have huge corporate conglomerates already. And actually that to me was the reason I thought they would maybe have success selling off Quibi to other companies in a similar way, like Beats headphones was sold to Apple, meaning it wasn't a huge investment for them, but it was a smart thing. And you know what I mean? Like they're buying up all the different things. And so I thought that a Facebook or an NBC or the like would easily buy something that's still pretty new and hasn't really grown its legs and kind of taken off running, that they can implement those shows and those IPs into their Facebook Watch, or NBC, they have their new Peacock network. So that's what I thought was actually going to happen, that they would actually buy anything at this point. But if they aren't buying it, that could be a sign that Quibi has a problem, whether it's their short form 10-minute limitation on their content or whatnot, or should they have done like some 10-minute things, some longer things. I don't know what the real problem is. But another reason that those companies could actually be passing on Quibi is not because maybe they don't like Quibi, but they are now wary of a lot of antitrust conversations, which are at an all-time high right now, and there's action being taken against big alleged monopolies in the tech world and in the media world. Most recently, the lawsuit against Google from the federal government, basically calling them a search engine monopoly. So it is weird considering many big media companies at the beginning or before Quibi launched, including I'll name a few, but they all fall under what I would think would be the Facebook, NBC kind of branch of media and tech. And I'll give a brief list of companies who have been reported to have early investment or early stake in this Quibi enterprise. And it was NBC, Disney, Fox, Sony, Time Warner, MGM, the movie studio, and even non-media companies like JP Morgan Chase Bank, Goldman Sachs, who's another financial company, Alibaba, which is, from what I understand, the shopping company that's kind of taken over the world too. And those were all reported investors early on. So I don't know what really caused this all to happen. It's kind of interesting. And it appears, though, that this is kind of the precursor, this company, to the TikTok situation with Walmart, where it seemed weird on the surface that Walmart was kind of getting in on TikTok. But in reality, it was very smart. And so on a product placement standpoint, with a number of like YouTube type shows that they could have put together with huge financial backing, Quibi could have been kind of the rival TikTok as far as like integrating retail with a streaming platform or a social media platform. It could have been like a blockbuster thing, or it could have led down the road of the monopoly type argument that's been really come to fruition now for Google. So it could be anything, but really this indicates to me that you can have all the money in the world, all the backing of all the major companies, and it doesn't guarantee success for your company. And especially in the current state of the world, where many are being more picky about what they spend their money on, where they spend their money, and how they spend their time, really, which at the end of the day, time and money, as we know, go hand in hand, and you're either paying for a streaming service so you don't have to get ads, or you're watching the ads for free, spending your time watching ads. So to me, that is kind of another thing that I was thinking of that could have been a problem for Quibi. Now, as far as what this means for the people involved, I think the person who this hurts most is actually Meg Whitman, who I talked about earlier, about the one who ran for governor of California, because she clearly, from what I see, has a really good track record in her executive history, and her resume is off the charts for anybody. So for her to be a part of a venture like this that is failing very quickly and very dramatically and drastically, I think is not good. And I mean, even Jeffrey Katzenberg, who is with DreamWorks has a huge reputation from just the general public standpoint. So for both of them to have this high profile failure with the backing of those huge companies, and the media landscape now kind of looking like Quibi was kind of in line with the trends and very on point, it's very, very interesting. And I don't think we're hearing all the information yet, but it seems like it was a dire attempt to save this company. And to be honest, I was rooting for Quibi. From a competition perspective, I love when there's new things in the marketplace. But then when you start really thinking about it, all their competitors were investors in Quibi. So that could also support my argument behind the whole monopoly scared tactic. Maybe they're trying to get rid of the assets that, or divest from companies that could fuel the fire of antitrust conversation around the companies I mentioned that were early investors. So that could be another thing. But what's interesting also is, I didn't know this, but the show called #FreeRaySean won 2 Emmy Awards this year. So it's not like their content was widely panned. Like I said, Reno 911 was a hugely popular, well-received intellectual property show that was on the platform. Clearly, this show won 2 Emmys, so whether people watched it or not, maybe business-wise it wasn't a success, but critically it was a success. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't give it enough time. And the last thing I really want to touch on is that early on in the history of this company, it didn't seem that this problem about a lawsuit regarding the technology that they allegedly are using, and allegedly from a lawsuit from the company that they talked to early on and rejected, that they stole from, it appeared that didn't really slow them down. But we don't know. That could come to fruition at this point. So I just wanted to touch on this story because it involves kind of the economic, social, tech world, and I think it's really interesting kind of how quickly this Quibi is turning out to be like completely falling apart at the seams. So we'll see what happens with this, but let me know what you think in the comments. Did you even use Quibi? Did you know what it was? And are you surprised that something like this that seemed to be kind of have all the pieces together for success in a 2020 world is failing so quickly? So let me know in the comment section, or do you have a different take? Maybe you heard some information I haven't touched on or didn't find. And before you head out of this video, like I said early in the video, if you're not subscribed on Rumble or YouTube, or have not rang the bell to turn on post notifications, do that. And while you are down there on YouTube, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you're on Rumble and you're on your phone, make sure to head above this video and hit the punching bag to give it a rumble, which gets it on the leaderboard, which a lot of my videos have been making the leaderboard on there as of late, which is really exciting. And if you're on your desktop on Rumble, make sure to head below this video and click the plus sign, to give it a rumble as well. So with that said, thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.